tell me, from where the car was found, have you any idea where Dr. Dorker was going?
None whatever.
Sam, what's happened? The clothes are out of order. We have to bail out. What are you doing here? Never mind, bail out.
I think that plane had a bug on it. Welcome back to the channel, number 3. Wow. And they're getting shorter each time. This one will be even shorter than the last one, which was shorter than the first one. But then I think half an hour is quite a long time to listen to me. So on this one, I'm going to be talking a little bit more about the hack at MGM. Yes, can't get enough of that. Why zero everything is annoying me. Also, should companies declare vulnerabilities in software? And a car that took its driver on a very disturbing ride. Back to Las Vegas. I spoke about that in the last one and how it was so easy for the hackers to get in. But I kind of thought about like, how did they actually do that? Okay, so they got the name of a person who works at MGM in IT, and they then rang the help desk pretending to be that person. But I thought, well, how do they do that? I can understand the first bit is kind of obvious that people can find people's job details on LinkedIn and elsewhere. But then after that, how did they actually use? So they rang the help desk and said, I've lost my credentials and everything. And I'm like, well, yeah, but then what do they do? And so I know that they were using Okta as some identity management. And so I did a bit of kind of surreptitious searching around on the internet and even on the old dark web. And I found it is actually seemingly quite easy to access MGM resorts via Okta. I literally found this, and as you can see, it just asks for your number and a password. So that led me on to thinking, well, that's okay, but if you rang up and said, well, I've lost my number and my password, you think they might be a little bit suspicious and put that caller through some hoops. On the other hand, perhaps they found the numbers they needed anyway. Let's face it, what I did was very, very primitive, very basic, and this hacking group seemed to be very sophisticated. So they probably got a lot of information already banked from other hacks, etc. But then I thought, well, maybe how did they even find the number for the MGM help desk, which is run by ServiceNow? Maybe, at least that's what I discovered. Well, again, you don't have to do too much searching around look for some phone numbers to get to MGM. Now, I couldn't find the actual help desk number, but I could find some MGM numbers, so it wouldn't be too much of a stretch to say, hello, yeah, I'm an employee and I just need the IT help desk number. Why wouldn't you give that out? Because, that's just the help desk number, and they would probably say, sure, it's 001, whatever it is. So that, I think, again, explains a little bit more about just how easy this hack was. It's probably the most simple example of phishing or vishing that we've seen for a long time. The other thing, finally, to say about this is that MGM and other companies involved haven't really said very much, which is understandable. So it's difficult to piece together exactly how this happened, but it does seem to me that, once again, what's the point of having identity management if you don't employ some secondary checks, if you don't employ some way of identifying the identity? So that's the last I'm going to talk about MGM, but I just thought you might find that interesting. Now, don't go around searching yourself looking for phone numbers and things, because you might find that this happens, which is what happened to me when I ironically went on the so-called dark web, using one of those browsers that take forever to load the pages because they're going through different VPNs all over the world. But I've kind of undermined there, really, the whole point of me using that, because I've just told you I used it. But anyway, I did use it, and it didn't get me very far. So I actually got more information from using, I don't know, the light web. Did we call it the light web? The bright web? The nice web? None of it's nice. Let's face it, it's not nice. None of it. So that's MGM done with. What else was I going to talk about on this show? Yes, zero. Zero. The word zero has been getting on my nerves a bit, because zero literally means nothing, okay? But we now tend to put zero in front of all sorts of other words to create a term, such as zero trust, 0 day, patient zero, a zero-sum game, all of that. But what does it actually mean? Like, take a 0 day vulnerability, which is one that I've never really understood. And ground zero, again, what is that? Patient zero. How can there be a patient zero when the patient is literally, can be counted? Because the first person, which they call patient zero, to get COVID was number one, not number zero. I don't get it. But also, getting back to 0 day vulnerabilities, which is something, that the cybersecurity industry loves to talk, in kind of things like, fancy terminology, like they're working at NASA mission control, 0 day, and the 0 day vulnerability. What are we gonna do? Jesus, it's a 0 day. Yeah. What does that mean? Yeah, zero. So why don't I just call it a vulnerability, or undiscovered vulnerability? Because that's what it is. And that leads me on to this piece of research that I found this week, which was saying that when companies discover a 0 day vulnerability, or a vulnerability that's never been discovered before, they should tell everyone. They should tell everyone. There has been an open letter signed by 50 prominent cybersecurity professionals concerning Article 11 of the EU Cyber Resilience Act. And it's addressed to Mr. Thierry Breton, Commissioner for an Internal Market at the EC, and various other people with jobs at the European Commission. Basically, their thing is that they think it's dangerous for companies to be forced to reveal unknown vulnerabilities, 0 days, when they discover them, apparently within the law, within 72 hours. Now, from their side, they're saying this is the industry, and then there's a lot of big companies sign this. So ESET, Rapid7, Trend Micro, Google, Trend Micro again, and the Cyber Peace Institute, whoever that is, Electronic Frontier Foundation, the Republic of Estonia, all sorts of people. So it's not nothing. And these are, and what they're saying is that if they reveal a vulnerability too early, then it just gives hackers a chance to scramble and find it and do the things that they do. I can see that. And I could see that it might encourage that. On the other hand, do these companies, does a software business or any kind of business have a duty to its customers to tell them as soon as possible there is a vulnerability? Because they're called 0 days because there isn't a fix for them, etc. That doesn't mean that there will be for a time where this vulnerability exists and there is no fix for it. But would companies prefer to know that? Or does it encourage more cybercrime? I really don't know. So I'd be interested in returning to this one. Also, it's something that might well crop up at the Cyber Evolution conference, which is being done by Kubinga Cole, and I will be speaking there as well. So hopefully we can have a bit of discussion around this, because I think it's a pretty important aspect of cybersecurity. We all know that vulnerabilities in software are increasing, and one of the things that I'll be talking about is securing the software supply chain. So this is crucial in that, because it's not just commercial software where there are vulnerabilities now, but all the application software APIs that are being generated in their millions every day. So finally, a story from Scotland, Bonnie, Scotland, where a hapless driver was kidnapped, he says, by his car. It's an EV, electric vehicle, an MG, in fact, and it says it got stuck driving at 30 miles an hour down the highway, and the only way that he somehow managed to call the police, the police came, and the only way to stop this out of control vehicle was for the police to arrange for it to somehow crash. During the course of this, he managed to throw the key of the car to the police through the window, and that still didn't stop the car. It sounds funny. Obviously, it wasn't that funny for the guy at the time. Some people are saying that the whole thing's made up, is nonsense. Whatever it was clearly some kind of fault that affected the transmission, that affected the motors, etc. Was it a software bug? Who knows? Could be a software bug. But all I can say is watch out when you get in that Tesla tomorrow. Okay, see you next time.